Om Sadashivasamārambhām Shankaracārya-madhyamām Asmadacārya-paryantām Vande Guru-paramparam. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we were looking at the Vakya Tattvamasi. So the Tattvamasi Vakya itself is having something called Samanadhikaranyam. Samanadhikaranyam means having the same locus, same substantive. So two nouns are there, let us say. Both the nouns are pointing to the same vastu or same object or same locus. Also, when we talk about the Vakya Tattvamasi, which is the Mahavakya, the author said that we have to look at three kinds of connection between the nouns. Sambandha Trayam Nama Padayoho, like this. So the words Tattvam, these two are nouns. And the Asipadam. So you are that, correct? That means both you and that are pointing to the same substantive, same object, same vastu. So in this case, there is Samanadhikaranyam. First we have to understand. So both the nouns are pointing to the same locus. That is one Sambandha. Then Padarthayoho Visheshana Visheshya Bhavaha. So the meanings of Tat and Tvam, correct? Padartha means basically meaning. They are also qualifying each other because they are coming together, correct? In the same sentence, they are qualifying each other. So they have a Visheshana Visheshya means, Visheshana means a quality, Visheshya means that which is qualified. So they have a connection that they are actually qualifying the other. One noun is qualifying the other noun. Then the other thing is, not only there is qualification, but there is also something called Lakshana, Lakshanayoho, Lakshya Lakshana Bhavaha, Pratyegatma Lakshanayoho. Because ultimately those two nouns are pointing to your own self, because you is basically pointing to your inner self. And there is also the Lakshana means implication, we can say in English. So not only the direct meaning if we take of the words, then we say there is the qualification and qualified, like that the connection is. But direct meaning will not make sense. There will be contradiction, there will be virodha. So we have to go for implied meaning, implication. So when you look at the implication, both Tat and Tvam are pointing to Pratyegatma only, the inner self. And therefore the implied, the implier and the implied, that is the Lakshya Lakshana Bhavaha. Okay. So that also is there. So all these three things we have to understand in the Tattvamasi Vakya. Based on that only we will have clarity, we will have clear knowledge about what it is revealing to us. Now again he is quoting here, Samanadhikaranyam cha Visheshana Visheshyata Lakshya Lakshana Sambandha Padartha Pratyegatmanam, like this. So the author, whatever he has said here, he is not saying it himself. He is actually quoting Purvacharya here. You can see, correct? So this is from Sureshwaracharya, Naishkarmya Siddhi. So Naishkarmya Siddhi is a very great text, and maybe some other time we can study that also. So there Sureshwaracharya is saying the same thing. These three things are there. And we have to look into all these three things while understanding the Tattvamasi Vakya. I think we came up to this 151 in the last class. So here he is now talking about all those three things, starting with Samanadhikaranya. So Samanadhikaranya Sambandhas Tavad Yatha Soyam Devadattaha Ityasmin Vakye Tatkala Vishishta Devadatta Vachaka Sashabdasya Etatkala Vishishta Devadatta Vachaka Ayam Shabdasya Cha Ekasmin Pinde Tatparya Sambandhaha. So now for Samanadhikaranya, first he is taking the Vakya Soyam Devadattaha Saha Ayam Devadattaha. Now in this the Sashabda, the Saha is there, correct? This is that Devadatta. When we say the that is basically pointing to Tatkala Vishishta Devadatta, means that Devadatta may be the Devadatta you saw in the college. Okay, that Devadatta was only 55 kgs, having black hair, lot of hair on the head, etc. So the Sashabda is pointing to Devadatta of that time and that place and whatever, remote past. Now, Etat Kala Vishishta, this is pointing to right now, correct? Etat Kala, this. Etat Kala Vishishta Devadatta can be 85 kgs, no hair on the head, all that, okay? And that is pointed out by the Ayam. So, Ayam means this, pointing to the current, right now, what is the status, that Devadatta. But both of them, when you say Soyam Devadatta, this is that Devadatta. This and that both are pointing to the same pinda or same object, correct? Same person here. Ekasmin pinde, same individual person they are pointing to. So the Tatparya is what? The intention of the revealer or whoever is saying that statement is to point that both that and this are pointing to the same individual person. Similarly, in Tattvamasi also, Tatacha Tattvamasi iti Vakyepi Parokshatvadi Vishishta Chaitanya Vachaka Tatpadasya. So Tatpada, that when we say that is Jagatkaranam Brahma, and Brahman is initially presented as though Brahman is something remote, correct? Ishvara, Jagatkaranam, the one who has created everything. People even imagine Ishvara sitting, God in heaven created this world and all that, correct? All remote. So that is a Paroksha. Okay. So Ishvara is qualified by Sarvajñatvam, Sarvashaktimatvam, all that. He has all knowledge, all power, like that. And you look upon that Ishvara as somebody distant, different from you. So it is all Paroksha, remote. And that is the Tatpada. Tat is pointing to that. Then Aparokshatvadi Vishishta Chaitanya Vachakatva Vachaka Tvam Padasya. So the Tvam is you. When we say you, means it is I for you. I is always Aparoksha. Aparoksha here means that which is neither Pratyaksha nor Paroksha. It is not remote. Okay, that which is not remote normally is directly you can experience something, correct? That which is within the range of your sense organs is called Pratyaksha, means that which is available for sense perception. But I is neither known as a remote vastu nor it is known through your sense organs and all that, correct? I is something which is self-effulgent, self-revealing, self-existent reality. So that is why it is categorized separately as Aparoksha. In fact, even in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, right now we are seeing this, correct? Yes, Sakshad, Aparokshad, Brahma. Brahman itself is talked about Aparoksha as Aparoksha there. That is a Mahavakya actually. But anyway, so here the the I is known not through any sense organ or even through your, by objectifying it through your mind. I is the eternal subject. In fact, in any cognition, I is implied. The knower has to be there. Then only the cognition can take place. So that is why it is called Aparoksha. So this I, Tvam is Aparoksha. Tat is Paroksha. But both are ekasmin chaitanye, both are actually pointing to only one conscious being, because that Brahman also is Satyam Jnanam, correct? Prajnanam Brahma. It is always presented as Jnanam, which is consciousness, and that consciousness is not something separate from you, because you are the only conscious being in the whole universe, you can say, because you cannot objectify any other consciousness. Whatever you objectify is actually an object of consciousness always. Therefore, it is you. The Pratyagatma alone is this Brahman. It's not separate from that. So both are pointing to the same conscious being. That is the Tatparya. That's what the Tattvamasi wants to reveal. That is the Sambandha. So this is the Samanadikaranya Sambandha we have already seen. Now we are going to the next Sambandha, which is Visheshana Visheshya Bhava Sambandha. Okay, Visheshana Visheshya Bhava Sambandhastu Yatha Tatraiva Vakye Sashabdartha Tatkala Vishishta Devadatasya Ayam Shabda Artha Yetat Kala Vishishta Devadatasya Cha Anyonya Bheda Vyavartakataya Visheshana Visheshya Bhavaha. So, of course, again he is saying the Tat is pointing to taking the Soyam Devadatta, means the Saha. Saha is pointing to basically that whoever is the Devadatta at that time, and this Devadatta, when we say pointing to Devadatta of this time, both are actually both are qualifying each other, correct? And also they are Vyavartakam, means what? Any qualification is basically done to differentiate something from all other things. That is what we call it as Vyavartaka. Vyavartaka means something which will differentiate and also point to only one thing. So for example, the traditional example is we give Neelam Utpalam, let us say. Okay, Neelam Utpalam means blue lily, blue flower. Now the blue lily, when you say, you have now, lily itself is basically, now you have separated it from every other type of flower and all other objects, correct? Lily. But lily means many types of lilies are there. So now you have to say blue lily, means it is not white lily. Okay, it is not pink lily, let us say. It is only blue lily. Fine. But there are many blue lilies. Then what do you do? See, if you want to keep on identifying a particular individual you want to identify, you have to separate out that individual from everything else, correct? First you gave the jati, which is the genus or whatever category, correct? Where we say it is a lily. That's not enough. Then you are saying blue lily. That is one qualification you have given. But now blue also, there are many blue lilies. You go to the pond, many blue lilies are there. Then you say Mahat. Mahad Utpalam means big blue lily. Fine. Now small blue lilies are all gone. Vyavartakam, correct? That is what Vyavartakam. You have separated it out from smaller blue lilies. Now you have big blue lily. That also is not enough. There are many big blue lilies. Then you say Sugandham, let us say fragrant, big blue fragrant lily, like that. Then there are other non-fragrant lilies are gone. Maybe there's only one fragrant big blue lily available. So now you have narrowed down to a particular individual object or a flower. That is the Vyavartakam. So here when we say this Saha Devadattaha, Saha Devadattaha, Ayam, that, this and all that, and Devadatta itself. So you have basically separated out. You are pointing to a particular Devadatta, correct? Even if you say just Devadatta, there can be many people with the name Devadatta. So now, how are you now pointing to a particular Devadatta? You are saying this Devadatta, that Devadatta, like that. Based on that, basically now you are pointing to only one Devadatta, and therefore there is a Vyavartaka is there. And Anyonya Bheda Vyavartakaya Taya means they are pointing to same locus, and in the process they are basically separating out the Devadatta, whoever is that person, from everybody else. Correct? That is the point here. So the Vyavartakam is there. And although there is some contradiction is there, but still that and this both put together, if you take, you have basically separated out the Devadatta person from everybody else. Correct? So that way it is pointing to, by being the qualifications, this, that and this have pointed to the same object. In comparison to everything else, you have basically separated out and narrowed down to a particular person. But then there is a Anyonya Bheda is there still, because that Devadatta's qualities are all different, qualifications or qualities. This Devadatta's qualities are all different, even though there is mutual, some contradiction is there, but still they have Vyavartakam is there. They are able to point to the same Vastu. In comparison to everything else, you have separated this out. That is the point. So further what? Tatha atra api vakye. So now Tattvamasi also. Tatpadartha parokshatvadi vishishta chaitanyasya tvam padartha aparokshatvadi vishishta chaitanyasya cha anyonya bheda vyavartakataya visheshana visheshya bhavaha. So in Tattvamasi also it is similar. Tat is pointing to, as I said, Jagat Karanam Brahma. Tvam is pointing to you as an individual conscious being, an individual person. But together they are basically pointing to a conscious being. Correct? You also is pointing to a conscious being. Tat also Brahman, Brahma Lakshanam is, as I told you, Satyam Jnanam Anantam, Vijnanam Anandam Brahma, Prajnanam Brahma. All these, always Brahman is associated with Jnanam there, which is like Jnapti, we take it. It is not Jnana Karma. It is not Jnana which is an action or anything. It is consciousness as the very nature. So Brahman also is pointing to consciousness. You also pointing to the conscious being. Therefore, you have separated it out from everything else. So the Vyavartakam is there. But Tat is pointing to qualities which are all, correct? All knowledge, all power, etc. Tvam is pointing to all small knowledge, small power. So there is Anyonya Bheda is there. There is, between them, there is still some contradictions are there, differences are there. The qualities themselves are different. See, when we say Neelam, Mahad, Utpalam and all that, there is no contradiction there. There is no difference. Neelam and Mahad and all can coexist in the same locus without any contradiction. But in this case, whatever the Tat qualifications, whatever the Tvam qualifications, they are having differences between them. But still they are pointing to consciousness. By doing that, they have separated out this consciousness from everything else which is not conscious, etc. Therefore, Vyavartaka is still there. And therefore, we say that Visheshana Visheshya Bhava Sambandha also is there. Being qualifications, they have actually pointed to a Vastu in comparison to everything else, by separating it out from all other things and pointing to one particular Vastu, which is consciousness in this case. So this Sambandha also is there. But since contradiction is there, you cannot stop here only, correct? See, in the case of Neelam Utpalam, Mahad Neelam Utpalam, whatever it is, there is no contradiction between the Visheshana and the Visheshya. The qualified, all the qualifications which you are using to point to a qualified Vastu, they are all going along with each other. There is no difference or contradiction. So you can stop there. You don't have to go for implied meaning and all that. If the direct meaning of the words makes sense, you can simply take that as the meaning of the sentence and then it makes sense and that's it, correct? You understand it as it is. But here, even there also, Neelam Utpalam also, Samanadhikaranya is there. That also we have to understand, correct? They are all pointing to the same locus and they are managing to separate out that locus from everything else so that you know only one particular thing. The first two are common in many cases. But wherever this Anyonya Bheda is there, then we have to go for implication because there is contradiction in the Visheshana Visheshya Bhava. You cannot stop with that because there is still a contradiction. You have to reconcile that contradiction, correct? Unless you reconcile that, you cannot get proper meaning. You cannot understand that. Therefore, you have to go for implication, implied meaning. Okay, that is what we call as Lakshana, Lakshya and Lakshana. So Lakshya is that which implies, the implier, you can say, and that which is implied. Sorry, Lakshya is the one which is implied, the implied object or implied meaning. Lakshana is the implier, okay, that which is implying. So there is a Lakshya Lakshana Sambandhastu, that is there. Now, Lakshya Lakshana Sambandha is talked about. Yatha Tatraiva Sashabda Ayam Shabdayoho Tadarthayoho Va Viruddha Tatkala Yetatkala Vishishtatva Parityagena Aviruddha Devadattena Saha Lakshya Lakshana Bhavaha. So now let us take the Soyam Devadattaha example itself. So what the author is saying here, so what is this Lakshya Lakshana Sambandha in the Soyam Devadatta Vakya? If you take Yatha Tatraiva, so Yatha means like, because we have to first point out that there is a contradiction, correct? So he is saying in that Vakya Tatraiva, the Sashabda Ayam Shabdayoho Tadarthayoho Va Viruddha is there, correct? That is the Anyonya Bheda we talked about. There is Tat is pointing to all qualifications of Devadatta, how Devadatta was 25 years back. Etat Devadatta having different qualifications. So how can you equate Tat and Etat or Saha and Ayam? Correct? The Sashabda and Ayam Shabda, the qualifications which are there for each of those, whatever they are indicating, they are Viruddha. So you cannot really take them together. So you have to give up whatever is contradictory in that. So the Devadatta as qualified 25 years back, all the qualifications you give up. Devadatta as qualified now, whatever is the qualifications, correct? You give up all that, whichever is Viruddha, and only retain the person alone. Still Devadatta person is the same person. So that whatever is Aviruddha alone we keep, which is Devadatta, the person. All the qualifications of that person which was there 25 years back and which are there now, we have to give up. The identity is there only for Devadatta as a person, correct? So that's what he is saying here. Tadarthayoho Viruddha Tatkala Etatkala Vishishtatva Parityagena. So you give up Parityaga. Give up what? All the Devadatta who is qualified by the qualifications of 25 years back, correct? Tatkala Vishishta Devadatta you give up. Yetatkala Vishishta Devadatta also you have to give up. Devadatta who is qualified by all the qualities which are there right now, because they both are not, they cannot go together. So whatever is Viruddha, these qualities, Parityagena, giving up. But Aviruddha Devadattena, but Devadatta is still the same without any qualities. You now try to understand Devadatta alone as a person, his very nature. Now this is what is called, understand this, this is what is called Nirvikalpaka Jnanam. Understand this. Nirvikalpaka Jnanam is not some kind of some mystic knowledge or anything. It is very simple. In the tradition, we say Samsarga Anavagahi Jnanam is Nirvikalpaka Jnanam. Samsarga Avagahi Jnanam is Savikalpaka Jnanam. So Samsarga Avagahi Jnanam means like Neelam Utpalam. Means there the Neela and Utpalatvam. Neelatvam, Utpalatvam, all of them are there in the same substantive and there is a connection between them. Correct? Visheshana, Visheshya. So the knowledge or cognition which actually cognizes the relationships, samsarga means relationship or connection. That is Savikalpaka Jnanam, because there is a Vikalpa, there is a Visheshana, there is a Visheshya, all these things are there, correct? And you also cognize the connection between them, the relationship. Samsarga Avagahi Jnanam is Savikalpaka Jnanam. But in the case of Soyam Devadattaha, there is no samsarga, correct? You have to give up all the qualities of that time. You have to give up all the qualities of now also. So there are no qualities. There are no Visheshanas which you can take into account. You have to give up all that. Then understand Devadatta only as a person, which is Devadatta Swarupa alone you understand, without any connection to any other qualities. You have to give up all the qualities, means there is no samsarga here. Devadatta Swarupa alone you have to understand. Any Swarupa, knowledge of any Swarupa or the very nature of something is really always Nirvikalpaka only. That is Nirvikalpaka Jnanam. Samsarga Anavagahi Jnanam we say. Means that which does not cognize any samsarga, but you cognize only the nature, the very nature of something. That is Samsarga Anavagahi Jnanam, that is Nirvikalpaka Jnanam. This is the Nirvikalpaka Jnanam. When we talk about, in this case, the Lakshya, Lakshana Bhavaha leads to Nirvikalpaka Jnanam. So this is the one we have to understand. Aviruddha Devadattena Saha Lakshya Lakshana Bhavaha. So both the Saha and I am are only pointing to Devadatta as a person. That is the Lakshya Lakshana Bhavaha. They are implying only Devadatta as a person without any qualities. You cannot take any qualities. So that similarly what Tatha, so how this is Yatha, in the case of Soyam Devadatta, Tatha, Atrapi, here also, Atrapi means the Tattvamasi. Atrapi Vakye, Tattvam Padayoho, Tad Arthayoho va, Viruddha Parokshatva, Aparokshatvadi Vishishtatva, Parityagena. So here also in the case of Tattvamasi, Tat Padartha, the meaning of Tat, the Vachyartha, the direct meaning of Tat we said is Jagat Karanam Brahma. The meaning of Tvam is an individual Jiva, individual person. No, their qualities have no like similarities, correct? Or they cannot be equated really. They are totally contradictory. And one is Paroksha, another is Aproksha, one is all, one is other is small, means then they are Viruddha. And that Viruddha Dharma you have to give up. Parityagena, giving up all the Viruddha qualities. Whatever is qualified by Tat, you give up that. Whatever is qualified by Tvam Dharmas, you give up. All the Tvam Dharmas you give up, all the Tat Dharmas you give up. But Dharmi alone you take. Okay? So Aviruddha Chaitanya is the Dharmi. Both are pointing to a conscious being. All the dharmas, all the qualities you think you associate with that conscious being, you have to give up. That is all Viruddha. So Parityaga you have to do. But retain only the conscious being, the consciousness alone. And therefore there is a Lakshya Lakshana Bhava here. So the Tattvamasi also by implication is pointing to only a conscious being. Every other dharma, every other Visheshana, Visheshya, everything you have to give up because they are all contradictory. They cannot, there is no tenability there. They cannot go together. So you have to give up. So you have given up one portion of the meaning, retaining only one portion, and you arrive at the identity. The identity has to be arrived at like this by implication. When you do this, this is called Bhaga Tyaga Lakshana, Iyameva Bhaga Lakshana iti Uchyate. So Bhaga Tyaga or Bhaga Lakshana means what? You only take one portion You give up the contradictory portion and retain the non-contradictory meaning alone. This is how we arrive at the meaning of Tattvamasi. We understand Tattvamasi. It's an identity, it's an equation. And any equation, I may have told this already, any equation should be apparently different. Otherwise, you don't give an equation 1 equal to 1, correct? It doesn't make any sense. So at least you have to say 3 minus 2 is 4 minus 3. So 3 minus 2 equal to 4 minus 3. Means apparently it looks different. 3, 2 and all different symbols. 4 minus 3 is different symbols. Let us, or 5 minus 4 you put. 3 minus 2 equal to 5 minus 4. All different symbols are there. But you have to arrive at the identity. The identity is always arrived at. Then only the equation is equation. In some cases, equations are very, very simple. In other cases, it can be quite complicated. You can even have equation like E equal to mc square. Energy is equal to mass into square of speed of light and all that. Now it is not very, very obvious, correct? So you have to understand a lot of physics to even appreciate the identity which they are talking about here. So like this, Vedanta also, Tattvamasi is an equation. You have to arrive at the identity. Obviously, there are contradictions. The Dvaitins, Vishishtadvaitins and all, they only focus on the contradiction as though we do not know that it is contradictory. We don't say that there is no contradiction. In fact, we appreciate the contradiction very much. And we are saying that give up the contradictory attributes and see the essential identity. The identity is essential. All the Viruddha Dharma, they are all in fact mithya, in fact. They are non-essential. You can give it up. Identity is essential. The essential identity alone we appreciate. That is jnana. That is the bhaga lakshana. In fact, that is called bhaga tyaga lakshana also, or bhaga lakshana here. So, in fact, Neelam Utpalam also is saying, see, asmin vakye, Neelam Utpalam iti vakyavat vakyarthaha na sangachate. This is what I already told you. So, when you say Neelam Utpalam, blue lily, blue flower, blueness and liliness or flowerness can be there in the same substantive, same object. There is no contradiction there. But it is not like that, he is saying. Iti vakyavat. Neelam Utpalam iti vakyavat. Like even the sentence blue flower, the meaning vakyartaha na sangachate. It is not tenable here. It is not proper. Where in Tattvamasi. Therefore, what? So you have to take this Lakshanavriti. That's what he is trying to point out. So he says, Tatratu Neela Padartha Neela Gunasya Utpala Padartha Utpala Dravyasya cha Shauklya Patadi Bheda Vyavartakataya Anyonya Visheshana Visheshya Rupa Samsargasya Anyatara Vishishtasya Anyatarasya Tad Aikyasya Va Vakyarthatva Angikare Pramanantara Viroda Abhavat Tad Vakyartaha Sangachate. Okay, Na Sangachate, he said. In fact, we can intuitively understand that. But see, our people don't leave anything for, they don't take anything for granted. So he is explaining now why it is not na sangachate is there, correct? Why it is not tenable, why it is not proper, or why it is proper, first he is explaining. In the case of Neelam Utpalam, why it is proper? Because he says Neela Padartha is there, meaning for blue is there. Okay. When you say Neela, what happens? There is a Neela Guna. Neela is a quality, it is a Guna. Neela Gunasya. Utpala Padartha, Utpala Dravyasya. Now, when you say flower, flowerness also is pointing to a particular object, correct? Utpala is pointing to a Dravya, Neela is pointing to a Guna. Now, there is a relationship between the Guna and the Dravya, the substance and the quality. And also, what they do, the Neela, it helps you to differentiate from every other color, correct? Shaukliya, in Shukla, Shuklasya Bhava is Shaukliya. It's a Tadita Prayoga. It's a Pratyaya called Shen which comes. Basically, Shukla and Shaukliya mean same only. Shaukliya means it is the blue helps you to differentiate it from other colors like white. So he is saying Shaukliya, Adi Padat, white, etc. So every other color is now gone, only blue. Similarly, when you say Utpala, all other objects like Pata, in this case Patadi means cloth. Once you say it is a flower or a lily, it cannot be a cloth, it cannot be a table, all those things, correct? Or it cannot be a pot. Gatapatadi are all gone because it is only a lily. And blue means it cannot be white, it cannot be pink, all that. So like this, they differentiate Veda Vyavartakataya, differentiate and make this thing stand out, correct? They separate it out from all other things. And also Anyonya Visheshana Visheshya Rupa Samsargasya Anyatara Vishishtasya Anyatarasya Tad Aikyasya Va Vakyarthatva Angikare. So when you see this, basically what each one, there is guna, there is a blue guna, there is a Utpala Dravya. Okay. They both are having connection. Anyonya Samsarga is there. So basically this Visheshana, the blue is qualifying the Vishesha, which is the Utpala in this case, and the Rupa is the color. So the Rupa has connection with the Dravya, which is Utpala. So Rupsa Samsargasya Anyatara Vishishtasya Anyatarasya Tad Aikyasya. So they are qualifying each other, and also they point to the same substantive, and there is no contradiction in that. By taking this meaning of the Vakya, Vakyartha Angikare, by taking this meaning. Why? Because it is not contradicting or contradicted by any other pramana, any other means of knowledge is not giving rise to some other cognition which is contradicting your cognition that this is a blue lily. So pramanantara virodha abhava, since there is no pramanantara virodha, there is no opposition from any other cognition through which is born of some other means of knowledge. Therefore, tad vakyartaha sangachate, this meaning is tenable. You can directly take only Visheshana Visheshya Bhava and understand the meaning properly. Clear? So he has explained that. So in the case of Neelam Utpalam, sangachate, it is tenable, it is proper. You can take it as a guna and guna which is qualifying a substance, a quality which is qualifying a substance which is the qualified, and through that only you arrive at the meaning and everything is proper. But in the case of Tattvamasi, what happens? Atratu, here means Tattvamasi. Tat padartha parokshatvadi vishishta chaitanyasya tvam padartha aparokshatvadi vishishta chaitanyasya cha anyonya bheda vyavartakataya visheshana visheshya bhava samsargasya anyatara vishishtasya anyatarasya tad aikyasya va vakyarthatva angikare pratyakshadi pramana virodhat vakyartaha na sangachate. So in the case of Tattvamasi also, almost the meaning, the word meanings are all same, correct? He is saying. So basically, Tatpadartha, only thing is it is now pointing to Parokshatvadi Vishishta Chaitanya. So it is pointing to a Chaitanya which is qualified by Parokshatva, which is remote. Tvam is qualifying a Chaitanya which is Aparoksha. Therefore, although they point to consciousness and differentiate it from everything else, which is not conscious, but between them alone, there is contradiction is there. It cannot be the same consciousness which is both Paroksha and Aparoksha, correct? And which is having qualities like Sarvajñatam and Alpajñatvam together, it cannot be there. So when you say that each of them, they both are qualifying each other and they are pointing to the same Aikya. Aikya is there. When you look at the Dharma, or when you look at one is Parokshatvadi Dharma, the other is Aparokshatvadi Dharma, means there is no Aikya there. And also they cannot be in relation with each other because they are contradictory, mutually exclusive qualities. Therefore, you cannot take the Visheshana Visheshya Bhava itself as the Vakyartha, Vakyartatva Angikare. So when you do this Vakyartatva Angikara, what happens? Pratyakshadi Pramana Virodha. Pratyakshadi Adi Padat, there are other Virodhas, Pratyaksha, Anumana, like that we can take. Even by inference, we can establish that there is a Virodha is there. It doesn't work out. There is a contradiction. Okay. So this contradiction has to be now taken care of. You cannot just say, we'll take the meaning. Okay. That cannot be done. So there is when you take it as simple Visheshana Visheshya Bhava, that means there is a qualifier and there is a qualified substance. You cannot take the meaning like that. It doesn't work out because it actually, there is a contradiction. Small knowledge and all knowledge are not the same. Jagat Karanam and the one who is part of the Jagat, who is in the Jagat, cannot be equated. So there is no they do not go together. That is the point here. So it is not proper, it's not tenable. Therefore, this is said, he says, in Panchadashi, Sasamsargo va Vishishto va. So Taduktam, it has been said. What? Sasamsargo va Vishishto va Vakyartaha na atra sammataha. Akhandaika rasatvena Vakyartaha vidusham mataha. So you cannot take regular meaning by having some connection. Correct? Samsarga means some relationship. There is no relationship between Tat and Tvam. When you take it as Tat as Jagat Karanam and Tvam as the individual I or individual being, individual person. So, and also keeping the consciousness qualified with the qualities of Tat and qualified with the qualities of Tvam also, the Vakyartha cannot be there. There will be Atra na sammataha. You cannot have any sammati. Means you cannot have any agreement there. It's all contradictory. We cannot agree to a meaning where we can retain the qualities which are directly pointed, which are direct meaning of Tat and Tvam, and still say that this Vakyartha we can arrive at, we can agree. You cannot do that. But then how do you arrive at? Means Akhanda Ekarasattvena. So you have to give up all the contradictory qualities. And then whatever the Vastu is there, it is Akhanda, means it is indivisible. It is basically, there are no Samsarga. That's what I said. Samsarga Anavagahi Jnanam. The Nirvikalpaka Jnanam is Akhanda always. Because there is no, it's only the nature alone. A nature of a Vastu is revealed as a whole, partless whole. See, the I sense which all of us have as a conscious being is really a partless whole, correct? I, that I is a partless whole. That's what you have to appreciate. See, even for a human being, let us say, unfortunately, the one person loses his leg. That doesn't mean he has become 3/4 only human. He is still the individual person, the conscious being is always a partless whole. You don't say he's only 3/4 man or whatever person. Even law does not recognize like that, correct? You kill a person who doesn't have a leg, means okay, he has only killed 3/4 person, we'll give 3/4 only the punishment. It is not like that. The human being, even the individual human is a partless whole, even in the eyes of the law. And that is how we also experience our own Swanubhava. One's own experience, Anubhava, is that I am always a partless whole. That's what you have to hold on to. Everything which is having parts like the body, etc., are all not really you. It is all an object of your cognition alone. You are always that cognizing consciousness, which is a partless whole, which is limitless in fact. So that is the Akhanda Ekarasatva he is talking about. So Akhanda Eka means it is the only thing which is really there. It is the indivisible truth, reality, And since it is indivisible, it is actually limitless. Whatever can be divided into parts is limited always. So the limitless has to be indivisible and partless, correct? By implication, it is whole, it is purna, it is complete in all respects. That is you, in fact. So that's what you have to appreciate. That is your Swarupa. And that's how the Tattvamasi also will work. That is the only way we can understand the Tattvamasi Vakya or Aham Brahmasmi Vakya, whatever, whichever way it is there, correct? Whether it is in the Upadesha form, it is Tattvamasi. Then when you do Mananam, when you actually dwell on the teaching, it is Aham Brahmasmi. Tattvamasi becomes Aham Brahmasmi. When you are doing Mananam, Nididhyasanam, when you are recollecting it, when you are dwelling on the teaching, and that is all Akhanda Ekarasa only. It is Akhanda means indivisible, Eka. Ekarasa means it is only one homogeneous. See, within the consciousness also there is no difference. There are no different parts. There are no many consciousnesses. Okay. And even that one consciousness is all homogeneous. It is partless whole. Homogeneity is there. That is the Ekarasa means it is one, it is homogeneous, and it is non-dual. That's what Ekameva Advitiyam only is put in a different manner here. Akhanda Ekarasatva means it's the same thing. That's how you can understand this Vakya, and that is also the whatever the Vidusham Mata means, what all the Jnanis in the Sampradaya, they also say the same thing. That is the established position of all the Jnanis. Whoever has taught us, whoever is teaching you, they are also saying the same thing. Like this, our Vidyaranya Panchadashikara is saying. Beautiful. So, Atra Gangayam Ghoshaha Prativasati iti Vakyavat Jahal Lakshana api na Sangachate. So, when you take, now he said, he talked about Bhaga Lakshana, correct? So, first what he is pointing out is, why do we even have to do Lakshana? That he has established now. Because the Vakyartha directly, if you take as a Visheshana Vishesha Bhava Sambandha, there is contradiction, it doesn't work out. Now, even Lakshana Vritti, by implication, when we say there are three types of Lakshanas are possible, even in that, which Lakshana we have to take? Only Bhagatyaga Lakshana we have to take. So, he is explaining that why only Bhagatyaga Lakshana works out here. Now, when we talk about Lakshana or implication, three types are there. One is called Jahal Lakshanam. Jahal Lakshana, he says. Jahal Lakshanam means what? You give up one portion of the meaning, retain the other portion, and then that works out. For example, here, Gangayam Ghoshaha Prativasati. He lives on the Ganga. Okay. Now, Ganga means the Vachyartha of Ganga is what? Ganga is a river. Now, you cannot live on a dwelling on the river, correct? The dwelling, of course, if it is a boat house or something, you can say that. But here the boat house is not meant really. So basically, when you say he is living on the Ganga, means Gangayam Tire, we have to take. So the Ganga river, you have to give up the meaning entirely. You have to take something which is related to that. Correct? You give up the meaning entirely. You take the meaning of something which is related, and that makes sense. That is the Jahal Lakshana, means you entirely give up the Ganga meaning, which is the primary meaning of Ganga is pointing to a river. So you have to give it up completely and take something which is related to that, which is the Tira or the banks. So basically you are saying his house or dwelling is there on the banks of the Ganga, but we say just he is living on the Ganga. His dwelling is living in a dwelling on the Ganga means the Ganga meaning completely you have to give up. Jahad Lakshanam means you are totally, you give up the meaning of one noun and take something related to that noun, some other meaning. That is Jahal Lakshanam. That doesn't work here. You cannot give up completely the meaning of Tat, because still the Tat Pada Vishishta Chaitanya we have to retain. And Tvapada Vishishta Chaitanya also we have to retain. We cannot completely give up along with the Chaitanya the tatpada or tvampada's meaning. Therefore, it is not jahal lakshanam. Then tatratu Ganga Ghoshayoho Adhar. Okay, why it is na sangachate? Again, he is explaining that. So this person is the author is very thorough. So he says, Tatratu Ganga Ghoshayoho Adhara Adheya Bhava Lakshanasya Vakyarthasya Asheshataha Virudatvat Vakyartham Asheshataha Parityajya Tat Sambandhi Tira Lakshanayaha Yuktatvat Jahal Lakshana Sangachate. So here, when you say dwelling place cannot be there on Ganga, the river, correct? River cannot be the Adhara, means or the substratum or the whatever, the substantive on which a colony is there. Okay. So the Adhara Adeya Bhava does not work out for Ganga and the Ghosha. The dwelling place cannot, but assuming that it's not a boat house, okay? We are not meaning a boat house here. Regular house cannot be there on the river itself. So you have to give up that entire sentence. And then you take the Ganga Tira. The Tira is a Sambandhi, correct? It is a relation, it is related to the river. You take the river's bank. River bank can be the Adhara for the Adheya, which is the Ghosha. So the dwelling can now rest or can have the river bank as the substratum, and that is tenable. Therefore, you give up the Ganga as the Adhara and Ghosha as the Adheya entirely, and take the Ganga Tira as the Adhara and Ghosha as the Adheya, and then that works out. So you keep that. That is fine. Okay, Jahal Lakshana Sangachate in the case of Gangayam Ghosha, but in the case of Tattvamasi, it will not work out. So that also is pointing out. Atra tu, atra here means with reference to Tattvamasi. Paroksha, Aparoksha, Chaitanya Ekatva Lakshanasya, Vakyarthasya, Bhaga Matre Virodhat, Bhagantaramapi Parityajya, Anya Lakshanayaha, Ayuktatvat, Jahal Lakshana na Sangachate. So in the case of Tattvamasi, only the Paroksha and Aparoksha aspects of the qualities are contradictory. The Chaitanya itself, the Paroksha Vishishta Chaitanya is there, Aparoksha Vishishta Chaitanya is there. The Chaitanya part you cannot give up. You cannot entirely give up the meaning of Tattantvam. Therefore, Bhaga Matre Virodhat, he says. So in the Vakya Tattvamasi, where Tat is pointing to Paroksha Chaitanya and Atad Etad or Tvam is pointing to Aparoksha Chaitanya, the Bhaga Matre Virodhat, the Virodha is there only in one part, where the qualities themselves are in contradiction. But whatever is qualified, the Chaitanya, the Dharmi is fine. It is, both are pointing to the same Dharmi. Therefore, Bhagantram you cannot give. You can only give up the qualifications. The qualified you cannot give up. Qualified has to be the same. Then only there is identity, correct? So Jahal Lakshana will not work out. You cannot give up the entire meaning of Tat and take some other Tat Sambandhi meaning and then say that is same as Tvam and all that. That way of understanding will not work. So Jahal Lakshana is Ayukta here because only Bhaga Matra Virodha is there. So that Bhaga alone you give up. And for that we use some other Anya Lakshana we use. Okay. Only the Bhagatyaga Lakshana works here, not the Jahal Lakshana. So Jahal Lakshana is not tenable, not proper, and it doesn't work out. Na Sangachate. So Jahal Lakshana does not work out for Tattvamasi. Yes. Explained here. Okay, rest of the things we'll see next week. So we'll talk about other Lakshana. There is Ajahal Lakshana and then the Jahal Lakshana or the Bhagatyaga Lakshana. Bhagatyaga Lakshana alone will work. We'll see that. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.